The chamber of the Galactic Council hummed with an old sense of superiority as alien creatures grouped together, their collective confidence palpable. More certain than ever, they believed humanity's obstinate control over their industry was a minor annoyance, one that could easily be managed. These tall warlords, grizzled intelligence officers wearing exoskeletons, and delegates with intricate multi-dimensional eyes stood side by side. Each species was dressed in ceremonial robes, and they shared a special contempt for Earth, considering it a minor planet, one of the unknown worlds brimming with hardly any industrial life and outdated primitive technologies. The very idea that these beings had the audacity to ignore the Galactic Council's growth was an offense they were eager to correct. The delegates' hushed tones filled the room as they discussed the optimal course of action. They were almost certain that the era of humanity was over. A system elder, with dazzling crystalline skin, leaned forward, his eyes narrowing as he spoke. Resist since they don't know. Perhaps a demonstration will serve as a reminder of where they stand. The others nodded in agreement as they stood, hardly bothering to discuss it further. It seemed inevitable that humanity would soon be replaced by the Galactic Council. Without wasting any time, the Council made its decision. A small yet potent fleet was assembled, outfitted with spacecraft far more advanced than any human could conceive. The mission's approach to the Earth problem was simple: issue the ultimatum, submit to the Council's leadership, or face utter devastation. The terms were harsh and straightforward. A formal message was crafted, polished, and sent across the vastness of space, directed straight at Earth. Days passed before the message finally reached its destination, its words carrying a cold, unyielding demand: submit fully, surrender your resources, and embrace the Council's leadership, or confront utter devastation when the deadline passes. The Galactic Council, confident in their superiority, quickly turned their focus to other matters, certain that Earth would have no choice but to follow their command. The silence from Earth was seen as nothing more than a delay tactic, an attempt to work out terms with the Council. They believed that humanity would eventually bend under the weight of their superior force, but the reaction on Earth was far from what they had expected. In a secure room, the United States President sat in silence as the message was read aloud. Her advisors exchanged cautious looks, but the President's face remained unreadable. The stakes had never been higher, and the room felt heavy with the burden of the choices to come. The silence stretched on, and with a calm hand, the President indicated to her staff that she would be sending a response. The message was brief, unadorned, no words of submission or fear, just a direct acknowledgement. The Galactic Council, upon receiving it, chuckled. They imagined that the primitive leaders of Earth must have been shaking in their boots, terrified by the thought of the Council's mighty fleet. They thought that Earth's leaders would be quaking in fear, overwhelmed by the approaching power. What the Council didn't understand, however, was that Earth had been preparing for this very moment for years. Quietly, carefully, humanity had been developing advanced technologies that the Council couldn't possibly have anticipated. The President's message, far from being an admission of weakness, had been a calculated move designed to buy time and conceal Earth's true response. In deep underground command centers, humanity's finest minds coordinated their efforts, preparing for the coming battle. Earth's fleet was not designed for offensive warfare. It was built for defense, for survival. And with decades of research and cooperation, the military had developed advanced stealth technology, cloaked energy shields, and munitions capable of piercing the most formidable of alien armor. Earth's forces were not unprepared. They had simply waited for the right moment to strike. As the Council's fleet approached, their confidence in their inevitable victory was apparent. They believed that Earth would fall in line just like all the other backwater planets they had conquered. But what they didn't know was that Earth had been planning for this day, and their entire fleet was about to feel the consequences. As the Council ships entered Earth's orbit, the silence of space was shattered by the sudden appearance of human warships. Like shadows, they emerged from their cloaked positions, their forms barely visible on alien sensors. The Council commanders, taken aback, had no time to react before the first volley of fire hit its mark. Every shot was precise, every strike calculated. The Council fleet, once so confident, found itself under attack from all sides. The human ships, built for stealth and speed, launched an assault on the Council's most vital systems. The enemy vessels' hulls buckled under the force of the attack, their advanced armor torn apart by weapons designed to pierce even the most. Reinforced defenses. Alien commanders scrambled to respond, but it was already too late. Earth's forces were not just fighting for survival, they were fighting to preserve their future. The Council fleet, once so sure of its victory, now found itself reeling from a series of devastating blows. Their ships were crippled, their systems failing, and their commanders were left with no options but to retreat. What they had underestimated was humanity's ingenuity, its resilience, and its ability to adapt under pressure. The Council's arrogance had blinded them to the reality of human potential, and now they were paying the price for their mistake. As Earth's fleet emerged victorious from the battle, a new chapter in humanity's story was written. The Galactic Council, once so confident in its power, now had to reckon with the reality that humanity was not a species to be trifled with. Earth had proven that it was more than capable of defending itself, and that no one, not even the mightiest of alien empires, could take their sovereignty away. The formation of the alien fleet was broken. Ships that had already cruised, moving forward in perfect harmony, now twisted and dispersed, battling to evade the unexpected and relentless assault. However, no escape was ever attempted. The evasive move was thwarted before it could even start, as though the human pilots had anticipated every action they made. Panic spread through the Council, and the commander frantically tried to understand what was happening. This wasn't the uncoordinated opposition they had anticipated. It was a meticulously planned ambush. Additional human ships surfaced, each concealing cutting-edge technology that made them almost imperceptible to conventional alien sensors, rendering them virtually invisible. Human-powered warcraft moved quickly, outpacing the adversary's defenses and swiftly dismantling the once dominant Council fleet, equipped with the best weaponry available. The technology that had ruled the galaxy was methodically dissected, with merciless efficiency. Council commanders, shouting, fought in dread and confusion, desperately trying to regain control as their forces faltered. Desperation began to set in, and every countermeasure that was attempted was met with failure. Precision human ships devastated the Council's fleet, targeting engines and communication channels to stop each ship from escaping one at a time. Council ships were disabled, abandoned, and left defenseless. Some were reduced to nothing more than drifting debris. The few that remained attempted to reassemble, but each time their efforts were futile. Humanity's fleet tore through them, catching them, dispersing their ranks and methodically dismantling their defenses. The commanders of the Council, once used to complete control, were now confronted with a truth they had never imagined. They were losing this battle, not to an archaic race, but to a force whose discipline and power had been specifically honed to combat them. As the fight progressed, the human ships displayed no compassion. The Council fleet was falling apart, their numbers dwindling more quickly than ever. Once confident in their own invisibility, the Council now found themselves in a desperate fight for survival. Distress signals were sent, frantic requests for reinforcements that would never arrive. Finally, the Council fleet was abandoned in wreckage, with hardly any ships left unharmed. Their engines struggled as they fought to escape Earth's orbit. They had anticipated a quick triumph, but instead they limped away, their fleet barely hanging together. It was evident that humanity had not only defended itself, it had destroyed one of the galaxy's most potent fleets with icy, surgical precision. As the remaining pieces of the Council's fleet retreated, humanity's ships held their positions, watching without firing another shot. The message was clear. Earth was no easy target. Being human was no longer a race to be underestimated. The shattered remains of the Council fleet limped back to their territory, leaving the silent, gloomy expanse of space surrounding Earth undisturbed. The startling loss spread quickly, generating shockwaves throughout the galaxy. In the Council chamber, the remaining representatives sat in stunned silence. Their power and domination, once unshakable, were rocked to their foundations. For generations, no species had dared to challenge them, let alone deliver a crushing blow. But now, humanity had shown them a force unlike anything they had expected. Whispers of confusion spread through the Council. Delegates exchanged accusing glances, desperate to understand why their defenses had failed. Why had humanity's intellect been so sophisticated? Why had they been vanquished so quickly? Once united, the Council now descended into arguments, with blame flying in all directions. A soft beep echoed through the room, quieting the chaos. The main communication screen flickered to life, and a message from Earth appeared. The President of Earth sat in respectful silence, observing the Council with an unreadable expression. The room's tension thickened as the representatives waited impatiently for the message. The President's voice carried unwavering might, unnerving every alien in the room. She began her speech with unadulterated clarity. You offered us the option to submit or be destroyed. You came to our house not as diplomats, but as conquerors, ready to remove us from our world. She paused, letting the weight of her words sink in as her gaze swept over the Council. However, we are not a people that give in to threats. We protect ourselves, not out of aspiration, but because we need to. We don't want your territories or your dominion. We refuse to be told what to do.